All right, so that's the latest that we've heard from the U.S. president. And as we mentioned, the FBI releasing an image of a person of interest in the shooting. CTV's Kamil Karamali is standing by with more on this. Kamil, what more do we know so far from the FBI in the early stages of this investigation and the search for a suspect, or in this case, as they've classified, a person of interest?
Look, Scott, we were actually waiting to hear another update by the FBI, but it looks like just in the last at least 30 minutes or so, we're getting some information that this press conference that was scheduled for this afternoon has been postponed due to, quote, rapid developments in the investigation, and that is coming from the Utah Department of Public Safety this hour. And so we will just have to wait to hear any further updates from the FBI and the Utah law enforcement officials. But what we know so far is that they have released, as you mentioned, that picture of a person of interest, an individual wearing a black shirt and sunglasses and a hat. It is very interesting because at around 9 a.m. Eastern time this morning, FBI officials actually provided an update saying that they weren't going to release a suspect video or pictures because they're going to work through their own technologies to identify this individual and work internally to try and recognize who this may be or who the suspect may be before releasing it to the public. They said that if their own internal investigation and technologies failed them, only then would they reach out to the public and the media with video, with pictures. And so it's interesting that they do released, or a couple of hours after that press conference this morning, released pictures of who they call a person of interest. Worth noting, not a suspect, but a person of interest. They've also released details on what they believe the weapon to be, saying that they have recovered a weapon from the scene believed to be responsible for the shooting death of Charlie Kirk. Is saying it was a high-powered bolt-action rifle, that it was recovered in a wooded area where the shooter had fled, and that the FBI laboratory will analyze this weapon. Investigators also collected a few other pieces of key evidence, including footwear impression, palm imprint, forearm imprints as well for analysis. Now, they also mentioned a few breakthroughs to be able to track the movements of the shooter, saying that they believe, based off of video, pictures, and eyewitness accounts, that the shooter, or the subject, as they refer to him as, arrived at around 11:52 a.m. We know Charlie Kirk was shot around 12:20 p.m., so about 30 minutes before the fatal shooting. This individual arrived on campus, allegedly. Police were able to track his movements through a stairwell and onto the roof. This is all obviously subsequent after the shooting that they were able to track this movement. And after the shooting, this individual jumped off the building and fled off campus into a neighborhood. Investigators worked through those neighborhoods, obtaining doorbell cameras and eyewitness accounts, and they do have, quote, good video of the suspect. So that's where the latest in this investigation stands. They do say that they believe this individual is of college age because they said this person did a good job blending in with the college institution, and now, once again, waiting for an update. But have a listen to what one former FBI investigator had to say in terms of why the FBI is being very careful in what they release at this hour. Have a listen.
They are not going to release anything until they're 100% sure of what they have. And also, you don't know whether or not the subject is listening to what's going on with the investigation. You do not want to tip your hand on anything you're trying to do right now. So they're going to be very judicious of what they let loose for the media and for the public, unless, of course, it has something to do with some kind of danger or something of that nature, or if they need more help. Once they identify this person, get some clear information about the person, they'll probably go in and release it.
Worth mentioning, Scott, that they've already interviewed two persons of interest and released them yesterday, and so now we have a third person of interest that they are looking for, possibly for questioning, and maybe could lead to the suspect, or maybe that does end up being the suspect. We don't know that yet, but what we know is that a press conference scheduled for this afternoon has now been postponed because of, quote, rapid developments in the investigation. So obviously things are progressing, and we'll bring you the latest as we hear of them. Back over to you.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see when and if we get any more updates throughout the afternoon. CTV's Kamil Karamali from the National Newsroom. Thanks so much, Kamil.
You're welcome.